In this demonstration video, we're going to look at iBwave Wi-Fi from a basic design perspective, looking at a small floor plan and how we might go about using the basic features of a tool like this. So the first thing we want to do is indicate that we're creating a new project. And this is where with iBwave Wi-Fi, you see a lot more detail in the project parameters than in some of the other tools. So if we click in the name field and type in a basic name, we'll just use the name test, like we do in the other demonstrations of the other three wireless design software solutions. We'll then note the different things that we can do. So we can set initial requirements right away, like the number of users, the expected peak data throughput, etc. We can set capacity requirements, such as clients per zone and clients per floor. We've got general preferences that we can configure for fonts that we use throughout and so forth. One thing I'm going to do is go to units and set it to imperial because the floor plan I'm going to use has metrics in it in feet. So I want to make sure that I have that. I can set my antenna gain to dBi, which is more common these days than dBd for Wi-Fi. And you can set other parameters too, like security parameters for passwords for the file, various layers that you want to include, wireless services that you want to have included and so forth. There are calculations for capacity. So I can go into capacity definition and I can define all of the different capacity values that I want for my different services and usage profiles and so forth. A lot of things we're not going to take time to get into here because we want to keep it at the basic level. So with that, what I'm going to do is click on OK to generate this new project using imperial measurement. So I now have a default project that has a design plan with nothing on it yet and a floor plan. If I right click on floor 1, I can go into properties and of course I can give it a name. We'll call it main floor. And then you can add an image file. So I'm going to browse for our image, which is the executive office image. And then you need to scale it. So what you do is click on config, and this is where you calibrate in this tool. So I'm going to go ahead and drag my line over so that I can get this calibrated to the 10 feet that I want it to be calibrated at. And remember, this is a very important step so that your calibration is accurate. So I have my line set, and now I need to indicate that that line is actually representing 10 feet of distance. And so what that's going to do is give me my calibration for me. We'll click on OK. And I can also change other parameters. For example, I can come down and say that this is going to be a medium or high priority zone. I can choose the project environment, such as a semi-open space or whatever my desire is there. Click on OK, and I have my floor plan loaded into the tool, and I can begin utilizing this floor plan. So I'll just resize it a bit to fit onto the screen because the way iBwave Wi-Fi works is it gives you a nice template where everything is laid out in a template with revision history, project information, designer's name, and so forth. So what I'm going to do is just control and scroll my mouse wheel to zoom in a bit here so that we can kind of get a nice zoomed in view of the map. So the map is calibrated. We did that during the import of the floor plan. So now what I can do is I can go to modeling and I can start working with my walls. Now note, I can import walls. If I have a DWG file or something like that, I can import my walls. I'm going to go ahead and do a brick wall around the outside like we are in all of these demonstrations, just to account for the reflectivity of that wall, as well as attenuation. If my client wants outdoor coverage or something like that, I might want to accommodate for that. And then I'll go ahead and draw some dry walls indoor. So we're just doing rough drawings in these demonstrations with these different tools. You would want to zoom in, get very accurate, so your predictions are as accurate as possible. We're not as worried about it in this case because we're really just demonstrating the basic features of the tool. And so just like that, we could design some walls. And these walls, of course, will impact the propagation of the RF when we place APs within the space. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and begin placing our APs where we want them. So if we go to our network design, we can click Add Access Point. And iBwave has an extensive database of various different vendors and access points that are available. So just for our example here, let's go ahead and choose a different AP. We'll go with the Ubiquiti AP, and let's go with an AC AP. So we'll select this AP and click OK. And let's go ahead and place maybe 3 of them on the map and see what kind of results we get from that. Now, with them placed on the map, we can go ahead right now and look at things like signal strength and so forth. But there is also a feature here, Wi-Fi channel assignment, which allows you to assign these APs channels automatically. So if I go into the tool, I can choose both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, choose the channels. Maybe I want to pick the default that they have here of 1, 6, and 11 for 2.4, and then only Uni 1 and Uni 3 channels, if that's what I'm after. So I can pick all of those, click on Run. It's going to go through and decide what the new channels are going to be. Look, it's going 1, 6, 11, 36, 44, 40. Click on Apply and Close. And you can see that did change my channels. Now, the way iBwave Wi-Fi works as far as your heat maps is you come over to the right view here, and in your prediction tab, you can choose what you actually want. So for example, for signal strength, I can just look at channel 1, 6, or 11 on 2.4 gigahertz, or in 5 gigahertz, just 36, 40, or 44. So I can really narrow down to what I want. But if I run all of these, then I can pick the one I want. So this is just channel 36, and I can see how it's propagating out. Here's just channel 40, and here's just channel 44. So I can see where that is. A nice one that I like in this tool is the overlap zone. Choose Run, and we can see the overlap zone. So if I click to select all 3, then we can see the overlap zones. Now let me zoom out here and bring in my legend. So I'll go to Prediction, Legend, Indoor Prediction. And that brings in my legend. So we can actually see the legend that's being used. We can go into the properties of it and see how it works. So the levels, we've got a greater than 20 level. I can add a level if I want to, and say that this level is 1 by just dragging it down. And maybe I want this to be a little lower as well, so I can move these around however I want. Click OK. It's going to change my heat map, of course, and I'm going to get different values throughout the heat map. I can adjust the colors in that too. I just wanted you to see that you can change those properties. We can also look for co-channel interference. So if I right-click and run that in 2.4 gigahertz, and then I take a look at it, I can see co-channel interference. I've got none. Why? Because I've only got 1, 6, and 11. The moment I add in a new AP, so let's go back over to our network design and let's add another access point. And we'll just keep the same Ubiquiti access point and say, we'll put it right here. It's on channel 6 as well. So let's rerun our co-channel interference. And now you're going to see that there's one AP causing co-channel interference literally everywhere, okay? Because this is such a small space. If it wasn't such a small space, we wouldn't see quite that level of co-channel interference happening. So back up to our signal strength here in 2.4 gigahertz. If we run that and then take a look at it all, you can see the propagation that's happening with our various APs. Now, there's a lot more you can do with this tool. There's also a lot more you can do with the other tools we look at in these 4 different demonstration videos. But that's the basic process of getting up and started with iBwave Wi-Fi. Like I've said with the other tools, you can download trial versions, take a look at it, work with it, and see how it works for yourself.